Joining us this morning to go through all the stories from the back pages, it is sports broadcaster Shabana Ahern. Morning to you, Shaban. How are you?
Shabam.
Good morning, Natalie. Good morning, Tony. How are you both?
Yeah,
all right?
Good.
Yes,
Very good,
very well. Let's start with the big news that emerged from Manchester City this week, shall we? And it's coming to an end. Sergio Aguero.
Yeah, lots of the back pages focusing on this morning on Aguero's Man City exit. The Sun saying ruthless finisher, Martin Blackburn writing that this morning. And also in the Daily Mail, a really nice piece by Micah Richards. He's saying, why are Manchester City letting the king just drift out the door? A few days ago, I took my phone out to remind myself of the moment, Sunday, May 13th, 2012, on the 93rd minute of Manchester City's game against QPR. He said, I've seen that goal. The goal that changed the course of City's modern history a million times, and it never fails to give me goosebumps. But this time, I feel sad. Sergio Aguero is the last man standing of the 2012 title winners, and the fact that he's leaving means a chapter is finally closing on that golden era. So Micah Richards a little bit upset by this, and possibly in the fashion that, you know, he is starting to leave. He says something inside is gnawing away at me. He said they are letting the king just drift out the door. Why has an announcement happened with 10 games to go and the possibility of him making more history? Do you agree with that? Has it been done in a slightly unusual fashion?
Look, we can get nostalgic, and Micah Richards is obviously getting very nostalgic about Sergio Aguero, and rightly so. He's been an incredible striker in the Premier League. But I think the ruthlessness, and you touched on the top headline of ruthless finisher. By the way, that's at Pep Guardiola. That's the meaning is to him because he's finished his career at City. Now, Pep makes conscious decisions, I'm sure, that everyone has to move on at some time. And if he has had lots and lots of injuries and played very little part in City's season, and Pep's got another idea of where he wants to go to, then unfortunately for Aguero and many other greats, this sometimes happens to them. You know, and it's not personal. It's just a decision that football club and managers have to make sometimes. He has been an amazing talent for them. That is not without question.
Of course, and like you say, they're going to put up the statue of him and stuff like that. They are paying him so much respect. They love him. He's been a huge part of the club and for the fans. So yeah, I guess like you say, Tony, this has to happen. You know, it happens at some stage.
Shaban, you can't be given a contract on sentiment, can you? You can't be just given something.
But why, Tony? Why not?
No, you can't. Look,
I'm joking.
Yeah. Well, it would be nice for us all, wouldn't it? But you couldn't be.
Yeah.
But what an interesting point that Micah Richards makes as well is why make this announcement with 10 games to go? Do you think that's an odd time?
Surely it gives Aguero to come to. I'm sure Aguero's in cahoots with this. I'm sure he knows about this and doesn't have a problem.
You'd like to think the statement wasn't the first time he was told that.
Exactly. He's had a conversation with the manager, and the manager's probably said to him, "This is where we're going. Are you okay with this?"
But why tell everyone? Why not wait until the end of the season and say it has now come to an end?
For everyone to come to terms with it. It was a big decision.
Right.
It's a big decision for Man City as a football club. And I think Pep's respecting that, and for Aguero.
And I suppose with hope that fans will be allowed back in for the final game of the season, they will give him that farewell.
Yeah, absolutely. He isn't done with any other reason. He spoke openly about Aguero and how brilliant he's been for the club. And I just think, you know, sometimes you just move on. Life in general, football, it's no different.
So Sergio Aguero then, Shaban, on the way out, but potentially a big name coming in to replace him.
Well, we can't look at the sports news or we can't look at the papers without seeing Erling Haaland. Pep rules out Haaland transfer. A lot of the papers focusing on this today. The Daily Telegraph saying Guardiola, City cannot afford Haaland transfer. The Express saying Haaland's far too pricey. And the Daily Mail, the kid who became football's most wanted man, but Pep won't be held to ransom. Jack Gaughan writing this morning in the Daily Mail. Some lovely pictures in there of a young Haaland with his dad Alf, and you know how he's kind of just come through from a young footballer to still a very young footballer, you know, who the world is focusing on at the moment. It's a really good piece in the Daily Mail today. Pep Guardiola insisted that Manchester City would not pay over the odds to sign Sergio Aguero's replacement. Guardiola maintained City would not be held to ransom after Haaland's agents Mino Raiola and his dad landed in Spain for talks with Barca and Real Madrid just at the end of the week there. Pep said, I want to be clear, maybe we are going to find a new player to replace Sergio. Aguero. When the club says we can do it, okay, we will try. If they say we can't, then we're not going to. With the numbers being demanded at the moment, it's not going to happen. We cannot afford it. All clubs are struggling financially, and we are not an exception. Oh, what do you think about that? I mean, a lot of people are saying he is going to Manchester City. That'll be the deal that happens. But Pep is very clear. I don't know if you've seen the footage of him at his press conference yesterday, that this will not happen.
I don't believe he fits into the way City play. I think his wide men and midfielders will have a certain style. And if you look over the course of the season, so many people have played in the centre-forward role, from Foden to obviously De Bruyne. Bernardo Silva has played there. Mahrez. So I think he's not looking at this signature of getting Erling Haaland to be the ultimate difference to his team. And plus, one thing we need to remember here, you want players to come and play for you. Not tout themselves out. It's not Haaland, it's his agent, to go and tout themselves out for the best deal financially in the world of football. You want, and managers want you to come to the football club because you want to be there. You'll get a great deal. Wherever he's going, he's getting a great deal. Let's remember that.
Yeah, of course. Obviously, Guardiola has mentioned about maybe we're going to find a new player to replace Sergio. But
or maybe not.
But, yeah, I mean, he's suggesting that cost could be an issue for Manchester City.
Done all right without a centre-forward, haven't they?
Well, this is what I was going to ask you.
Well, did you really need one?
Yeah.
Gabriel Jesus,
false number nines at times.
Yeah, they play false number nines. Gabriel Jesus has played on the left. Yeah, I mean, they've done it brilliantly, and teams have found it very difficult to stop them. So Guardiola might say, I don't really need that type of centre-forward. Yeah. Some people will go, that's nonsense. Well, from what I'm watching and what I'm seeing week in, week out, a City play a certain way, and it's really effective.
It's going to be interesting, isn't it, to find out what happens with Manchester City and whether or not they
Chelsea or Man United will look far more viable to me in the way they play. Probably more so Man United. They're screaming out for a player like Haaland.
Well, it's just going to be an interesting summer transfer window anyway, in terms of COVID and how much that's going to play its part in what prices players go for and what teams can buy and who's been financially impacted by it all. But yeah, what we do certainly know is that Sergio Aguero will be leaving Manchester City, and it's a question of if they will replace him in the side.